Hey mamas, welcome back to my channel. And in this video, sis, we're going to be talking about how to put your baby daddy on child support. I said what I said. You're paying $3,600 a month for daycare and you can't even put that man on child support to support your child that you are caring for? Make it make sense. Hey y'all, I know it's been a while. Happy New Year. Before I get started, I just wanted to say if you've watched my videos or you know about, my videos, my content, you know that I do not like the word baby daddy, baby mama because let's just be grown and let's just be so for real, okay? But the usual, y'all like the word baby daddy, baby mama. So for me to give you information that you're looking for, I always title my videos or, have that be an open liner so you guys can understand. But moving forward, we're going to be addressing your baby daddy as your child's father. Okay. I thought it would be very important to talk about how to put your child's father on child support because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about child support, with social media, with, he say, she said, girl talk, boy talk, or whatever. Whatever's going on, the the men podcast that's going around talking about child support and all that. I have put my child's father on child support. Disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I did not go to school for law. Do not take this advice as like biblical sound, okay? This is just my experience, what I experienced when I put my child's father on child support. All right? So I just want to put this out there. Don't go to your local court and say, Barry said, I didn't say nothing. Don't use my tips as doctrine. Research it for yourself. Okay? First thing is, let's debunk child support. Because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people thinking child support is something that is not. And when a lot of people constantly say, oh, y'all women use child support for XYZ, y'all da for XYZ. If you're asking your child's father for child support, you're blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you what it really is about, okay? So child support is financial support that is meant to aid and help your child. That is why it is called child support. I do not condone using your child support money to go buy some Louis Vuittons. And if you are buying Louis Vuittons, I don't even know how much it costs, but I know that's a lot of money. So for you to get a lot of money, your child's father is very rich. But that's not what I'm trying to talk about. I don't condone using your child support outside of taking care of your child. And that means even the things that aid in taking care of your child, in my personal opinion, again, not a lawyer, but in my personal opinion, if you are using an automobile to take your child to and from school, maybe, just maybe, if you don't got the funds, you can use that support to fix your car. Maybe. That's just me. Okay? But personally, I use my child's support to support my child. So y'all know that childcare is expensive. And thank you, Jesus, that mine has been lowered to $546 a month. And I get $500 a month. So obviously the childcare for before and after care, that's what all the money is being used for. So I don't got to worry about that, which is a big boulder lifted off of me. And when I originally had my child and I was working full time, I was paying $1,300 a month for childcare. No support. So when I started to crunch the numbers, I realized maybe I should request child support. Now, if you already have something in place with your child's father, that's fine. I don't think you necessarily need to go to court to solidify it unless you feel more comfortable doing so. So it's like, yes, legally binding contract per se, you have to pay me XYZ. But know that going to the court might, bring up some attitudes, some personalities, some bad blood, maybe, depending on your relationship with your child's father. So if you already have something in place, I personally suggest that you keep it, whatever it is right now, and you move on. The money you get from your child's father, if you physically have your child majority of the time, is to be used to take care of your child. So don't feel awkward or ashamed or guilty or weird asking for money to support your child. I just want to like reiterate this. Don't feel weird. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like a baby mama for asking for money from the person that you had this child with to support said child that both of you had together. Does that make sense? And this is for everyone, not even for the mamas out there. Getting support for your child is okay. Don't feel weird. I encourage you to, if you already don't have something in place, get them funds and take care of your baby. Okay? Stop acting the fool out here now requesting child support because you're Get them funds and take care of your baby. Anyways, child. So the second thing I want to discuss is, or the second tip, I guess, how to, is to look online and look at the requirements needed to even, begin this process. If you don't have something set in place or you haven't been receiving consistent amount of money, and you just are interested in beginning the process of getting child support, go online. There's honestly a lot of resources online. What I do, and I live in Maryland, I can only speak for the state of Maryland, but I literally went online. I think I typed in how to get child support from your child's father. And then it took me to a government website that had forms, and it even had an assistant, a live chat. So I asked all my questions there. What forms do I need? How do I do this? Should I get a lawyer? Should I not get a lawyer? And it was really helpful. Again, they reiterate this is not legal, standardized legal advice, but they spoke from a, I guess, governmental, documental, clerk perspective. So it was really helpful in realizing what types of documents do I need? What forms do I need? How do I even get the ball rolling? So I encourage you, type it into Google. Google is free, and look up whatever state and see the requirements needed to get the process rolling, the documentations that you have to fill out and all of that sort. And weigh your options to see, do I want a lawyer? Do I need a lawyer or do I don't? I personally got a lawyer, and I will talk about that in my how-to number 3 of why I got a lawyer. But for me, I thought it was beneficial for my mental health to get a lawyer. So on top of looking at the requirements that is needed, again, I can only speak for the state of Maryland, but Maryland has something called a parenting plan guideline or something like that, where if you do have something in place, right, and it's not been consistent, or you want to bind it by contract or bind it legally or bind it in the court, however you want to bind it, you want to bind it. There is a parenting plan that you and your child's father can fill out together and say, okay, whatever we're doing now, let's put it on paper so the court can stamp it, and this is doctrine, this is Bible per se. So if you guys already have that, relationship, or you are able to approach him and just have that civil conversation, I personally suggest filling out the parenting guide or filling out something to say that, okay, I'm going to get him every weekday. You'll get him every other weekends. This is how we're going to do our holidays. This is how we're going to do our summers. This is the pick up and drop off locations. This is how we're going to communicate, and et cetera, et cetera. I know I initially said that we're going to talk about child support, but when you are filing for child support, you are also filing for legal and physical custody. So you have to start thinking about those things. It's not just about getting X amount of money per month. It's also who is going to have your child physically, who will have your child legally, and how our pickup and drop off how our pickup and drop off arrangements set up. So you want to make sure you get your arrangements right. Whatever you want, put it on paper. He doesn't necessarily have to agree with it or not. You can have that conversation or you can set it up with a lawyer. But if you already have that mutual like understanding or something already in place, I personally suggest filling out a parenting guide or a parenting plan so you can get all the middlemen out of the way. Because if you do end up getting a lawyer, that's what they're going to do anyways. So if you already have that plan, you could just go to the lawyer and say, hey, I already have this plan. I'm just paying you to pay, like to take care of the paperwork. Because I paid like about $5,000 to, yep, I said what I said. I paid about $5,000 to put my child's father on child support. And it was because there's a lot of like back and forth from his lawyer and my lawyer. And it could have just really been like, it could have just been what it is if we both just agreed and filled out a parenting plan and presented it to our lawyers so they can stop going back and forth and billing for calling on the phone or sending an email. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you are about to start this process, start getting your documentations ready. For example, birth certificates, bills that you paid. If you're paying for, like, for example, medical bills, or if you're paying for after school activities, things of that nature that directly benefit your child or directly get paid for your child, you want to have that documentation and you want to have that receipt on hand and ready to go. You don't want to be sifting through it. You want to have that. Get them receipts. Y'all be getting them screenshots of the conversations. You need to get your receipts for your baby so you can get paid or so you can get money for your child, okay? So that is also very important. So sift through. Something else also that you need to get is, like, if you're paying health insurance for your child, have that documentation ready. Basically compile important information that you're paying directly for your child. So after school activities, like I mentioned, childcare, big ticket item, health insurance, dental insurance, all of that that's getting paid out of your paycheck, Maryland 529, if you have a little investment, whatever, anything that you're paying for your child, get it ready to go. And sometimes, at least for me, my lawyer asks for a communication between me and my child's father, so I had to do a lot of screenshots, do da 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 da. So make sure you have that also readily to go. It makes it a lot easier, and you have the supporting evidence to support that. One, you are paying the stuff for your child. Two, this is your child. And three, also you need documentation that your child lives with you if they live with you physically. So for example, like if any mail is coming to your house or wherever you stay, or with your child that has their name on it, that's also an important documentation to have as well. Keep in mind, and I should have talked about this during my debunking, you can't just go to court and say, I want child support money, give me $2,000. That's not how this works. If y'all think that's how this works, and I'm not talking y'all, this mamas, please skip a little bit. I'm not talking to you mamas. I'm talking to the people who be talking bad about child support, the people who be saying yada yada yada, you're a baby mama if you try to get child support. If y'all think that people just go to court and say I need $2,000 now, y'all are smoking crack cocaine, because that's not how that works. So your monthly child support payment is based on your income and your child's father income, and if they have other children as well that they're paying child support for. So there's a lot of factors, and also, like I mentioned, everything that you're paying for your child. There's multiple factors when it comes to what you will receive monthly for your child support payments, which again is all calculated by your respective state. And sometimes they do have like a mock template online. I don't know how you know how much your child's father is making, but hey, if you know how much, you do the math and you figure out how much you could potentially get if you're going to go through with it. Because it may be more or less than what your child's father is already paying. So keep that in mind as well. If your child's father is paying $300 a month and you don't have any child care or nothing, and you don't have health insurance, and he's paying for majority of the health insurance, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to get more than that $300. So keep that in mind as well. I know we're still on number 2, but number 2 is very important when it comes to doing your research and just having a basic understanding about like the whole process. So something else that I wanted to add is to keep in mind or start to think about like physical versus legal. So in the state of Maryland, there's 3 types. There's physical custody, which I think that's self-explanatory. You have your child physically, like your child is physically with you, with visitation rights, obviously. If your child's father is going to be paying child support, know that Maryland cares about the well-being of your child. So if, your child's father is not abusive to you or your child, they're 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, okay, visitation rights for your child's father. So keep that in mind as well. So if you have physical custody, you have sole physical custody, and then your child's father might have visitations. That's one. There's legal custody as well. And all legal custody means is that you're making those types of legal decisions. So God forbid anything happens in the hospital, you are the person making the decision. You make the decisions about the school. You make the decisions about, place of worship. And then there's the third one, which is tiebreaker, which means both of you guys can have a shared physical or a shared legal custody, but then there's one person that is the sole tiebreaker, meaning if you guys have a disagreement where they should go, where your child should go for school, or who they should live with, whoever has the sole tiebreaker authority would be the person that says, I don't give a damn what you guys say, we doing what I gotta do, basically in layman's terms. And if you do have the authority, you can't just make decisions by yourself. You obviously have to discuss with your child's father, but at least at the end of the day, if he's smoking crack one day and decides something way, way crazy, you could put your foot down and figure out what is best for your child. Okay, now that we got knowing your information out of the way, we're going to talk about step number 3, or I guess tip number 3, which is just if you are uncomfortable. So again, before I talked about you can actually file for child support by yourself, or you could do it through a lawyer. I did it through a lawyer because I was uncomfortable. No shade, no tea to my child's father. He's a good father to my child. But I personally felt uncomfortable because of the stereotypes around putting your child's father on child support. And just at that time, emotionally, I was not okay. I guess you could say I was still kind of afraid and scared. So I thought it was in my best interest emotionally and mentally to have somebody else take care of the paperwork for me, which is why I hired a lawyer. I didn't want to think about all of that and then think about doing my master's and think about having a full-time position while also taking care of my child. So I thought it was in my best interest to get a lawyer. So you have to think about that. Are you comfortable? If you guys have that relationship and you get that parenting plan, you could just go to the court and say, hey, court, we have a parenting plan. We need y'all to put a stamp on it and get that out of the way, and it's done. If you don't feel comfortable and you want to talk through your lawyers, like your lawyer talk to that person's lawyer, then you can set it up that way. So try to figure out the best thing that works for you and move forward with that. The last thing you want is for, I guess, your mental health or your emotions to hinder you from getting support that will really benefit your child. You want to make sure that when you're going into this, that you are going into this for the best interest of your child, not the best interest of yourself, okay? So keep that in mind. And to be honest, I think if you go into this what is the best thing that I could do for my child, it might give you some encouragement to actually file that paperwork or to actually have that conversation or to actually look for a lawyer. So you never know. And you can be asking where do I find the best lawyer? Girl, Google it, because that's what I did. And then my lawyer was okay. So the fourth thing, it's not really a tip. It's just my experience is to keep in mind the timeline. Everything makes sense and everything correlates with each other. If you have a wonderful relationship with your child's father and you guys have come to a mutual agreement and you have a parenting plan, I would say it would take maybe 3 to 4 months because you have to just get all your paperwork and documents together and go to the court and present your information. But if you don't, for me personally, I had a lawyer and it took me about a year and 3 months. And I've known somebody else that took them about a year and 3 months as well. That was in the same or similar situation that I was. So keep that in mind. That's why I said with number 3, are you comfortable? Because if you're not comfortable and you're doing this by yourself and it's taking you a year, that is a year of a lot of stress on you mentally. So keep in mind that it might take you from like 3 months to a year and a half. So yeah, mamas, all in all, I just want you guys to know that asking for child support to support the child that you're supporting and taking care of is not outlandish. It's not weird. When you are asking for child support, it's not like you can just throw a figure out there. Most of you know that because most of you are smart. It's those people who have the men podcast that don't know that. But you can't throw a figure out there. If you already have something in place and you guys are gelling well together and have something good together, I personally wouldn't go to the court, but if you feel more comfortable solidifying that on paper, please feel free through the parenting plan that you both agree on. And if you don't feel comfortable, and I'm not speaking like endangering yourself, but like if you don't feel comfortable, get a lawyer. Make sure you have like a girlfriend or somebody that you're talking to. Hit me up to discuss like what's going on. We don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but we can talk about like your emotional and mental well-being when trying to figure out this new chapter and trying to figure out how to get support for your child. If you do, or if you are in a situation that is endangering to you and your child, I recommend seeking like more support, whether it be through law enforcement or different support groups that can better help you and you can figure out a course of action moving forward for you and your child. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed these tips, mamas, and let's put this man on child support. Honestly, not in like a bad way, but just to support your child, to lift some financial burdens off of yourself for real, because inflation is high and them child care costs ain't low. Do what you have to do for the best interest of your child, and I hope it goes well with you. But yeah, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, mamas.